So in this video, I'm going to break down and give you a complete walkthrough of the script that has helped me sell over $550,000 of final expense life insurance on my own pen as a life insurance agent my first year. And this script helped build an agency where we've done over $8 million in sales. I'm gonna give you guys the exact walkthrough. I'm gonna share with you exactly what I'm doing and basically give you a mini course. Not only just give you the script, but I'm also gonna explain how to do specific things so you can just duplicate my results. And I promise you, if you go through this, you'll be better than most life insurance agents. You'll know exactly how to underwrite, you'll know exactly how to ask good questions, and you will make more money selling life insurance with a proven script that works. Watch to the end, it's gonna be some valuable stuff, and ultimately, this is how you sell life insurance at a really high level. Enjoy, comment below if you want more like this. Love you guys, it's giving you all that I have for free, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's jump in. So guys, using the PDF and the script that we have built out for you, I'm gonna go through one of the most important parts of the sales process, and that's gonna be the introduction. So I'm gonna share with you guys and walk you through how to go through the intro and ultimately just the principles when it comes to selling final expense over the phone on why the introduction is so important. So we have our script pulled up here together. We're gonna just go through it really quick together and then we're gonna kind of break it down. So first thing is the intro. So how it goes is, hey Miss Betty, this is Peter. I'm just getting back to you in regards to the request that you sent in on the internet. It shows here that you listed your daughter as the beneficiary. Is that correct? They're going to say yes. Okay, great. And then, do you have any current life insurance in place today? If they say no, you're going to go with the no response. And if they say yes, you're going to progress with the yes response. Now, let's say she says no. Okay, and it shows here that you don't, as you mentioned, have any coverage in place. Were you looking to leave something behind for like the family, or are you just trying to cover the burial expenses? They say they do not have any current life insurance. Now, if they say that they do have life insurance, and you're going to say, okay, well, it shows here that you do have some life insurance in place. Were you just looking to add on to what you currently have, or are you just trying to find something a bit more affordable? What were you looking for? And if they say they do have coverage, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to break down and dissect their current coverage. Okay, because we have to figure out where the value is. I'm going to teach you that here in a second. Where is the value? But if they already have coverage, and you're going to be like, okay, gotcha. And, who did they end up putting you with? How much coverage do you have in place? Were they making you pay, how much are they making you pay for that? And is there one of those 2-year waiting periods? And then if yes, if no responses, and then we go into how it works. So let's just dissect the introduction. Why is the intro important? The intro, it's very important to understand who are you speaking with. The intro, you are calling out to a lead. They have their guard up. They probably had 50 calls today. It's your job as the agent to lower their guard. Okay, and how do you lower their guard? So the intro first must have a smile. They must feel your warmth in the beginning. If you just answer, hello, who's this? Hey, this is just Peter, with no smile, their guard will continue to remain up. So your goal in the beginning is always to lower their guard with a smile. So listen to without a smile and with a smile. Hey, Miss Betty, this is Peter. Just getting back to you in regards to the request that you sent in on the internet. It shows here your birthday is 4/4/57. Is that right? Is that correct? Versus, hey, Miss Betty, this is Peter. I'm just getting back to you here in regards to the request that you sent in on the internet. It shows here that you listed your daughter as the beneficiary. Is that correct? Okay, so you can hear the difference in my tonality. I'm always trying to bring their guard down. So rule number 1 of intro is smile and bring warmth to the phone. A lot of people say sound like you don't like your job, pretend like you're not interested. Don't do that. No, they need to feel your love and your warmth in the beginning. And the smile is the easiest way to do that. Now, the next part of the intro that's important is letting them know where you called. Hey, this is Peter. I saw that you filled out a form, on Facebook or on the internet or, on TikTok, wherever you generate your leads or buy your leads. Make sure you know the platform so you can fill in this box here, the internet. Then typically your lead card should have some type of information like a beneficiary name, a height and weight, a birthday, whatever the lead card comes with. Make sure you use that because you want your client to know that you're not just calling them randomly, that you have a reason that you're calling them. And the way that you do that is you bring up information that only you would know. Okay. If you know that the birthday is 5/5/55, then they'd be like, well, I had to fill out something, right? So you always want to lead with some type of information. I might ask Peter, what do you do if they're like, what is this about? Why are you calling? Yeah, you just remind them what they filled out, with information that you only have. Okay. So if you're calling someone who filled out a 2-month-old lead and they're like, well, why are you calling? Don't make sense. Well, yeah, Miss Betty, about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, you filled out a request. You put that your favorite color was, indigo. They're gonna be like, oh yeah. So when people don't know why you're calling, it's very, very important that you remind them of that. Hey, I have your lead card, specifically your lead information. No one else could have this information except for me. Okay, so if your marketing team doesn't have any way to get that specific data, you probably should look into your marketing. But that's for a different topic in this video, in this course here. But ultimately, yeah, so why are you calling? What is this about? Who are you with? Yeah, this is in regards to the request that you sent in on the internet for our life insurance programs. It shows here that you listed Samantha Greenwood as the beneficiary. Is that right? Oh, yeah. So now that you've reminded them, they know why you're calling, their guard has been lowered, then you're going to regress into understanding the value of the intro. Okay. Then you're asked, great, and do you have any active current life insurance in place today? Why is that important? Because the value changes. If someone doesn't have a policy, then you know that they have a different value proposition. They're either doing three things: trying to leave a gift behind to their loved ones, they're trying to cover a burial, or they're ultimately just trying to make sure that their cremation is taken care of. There's typically three angles of value when someone does not have coverage. So if they do have coverage, then they might not need to have their burial expenses paid for. If they already have a $20,000 policy, they already have enough for their final expenses. So that's why your value is impacted depending on if they do or do not have coverage. Does everyone see that? So if someone does have coverage, it's going to be a little bit different here. You're actually going to get the policy information. Okay, let's break that down. So if someone does have coverage, or let's go back up here, if no coverage. Okay, and it shows here, like you told me, you do not have any coverage in place. Were you looking to just leave something behind for the family? Or are you just trying to cover the burial expenses? You're always asking questions so they can admit what they are looking for. The goal, again, in the first 30 seconds is to lower their guard. So with this smile. But number two, it's to find why they feel this out and what are they looking for. Okay, it's why are you even speaking to them? And we can get them to tell you, hey, I want to make sure that when I die, my burial expenses are paid for. Then you have a position of value on how you can help them. Now, if they're like, I don't need anything, I'm not calling for anything, wrong person. Again, I don't care how good you are at selling. If they actually didn't fill it out and they actually don't want anything, there's no need, there's no value, they're not going to buy. So we're trying to figure out where is the value in the first 30 seconds. Now, going on deeper into the process here is, let's say you ask them, any current life insurance in place right now? And they say, oh yeah, I do have coverage. Then our value changes. Now here's why. If someone already has a $30,000 or $20,000 policy, then they don't need their burial expenses. They might have a different position of value. So, and it shows here you do have some coverage in place. Were you just looking to add on to what you currently have, Miss Betty? Or are you just trying to find something a bit more affordable? Okay. So we're always asking two questions. When they don't have coverage, are you looking to leave something behind for the family? Trying to cover the burial expenses. Two questions. If yes coverage, are you looking to find something more affordable? Or are you trying to add on to what you have? Because if they're trying to add on, our discovery, what we're trying to learn here in a little bit, is going to change. If they're trying to find something more affordable, then I know that the value is to find them something more affordable. Okay? Because if they already have a policy for $50 for $12,000, and I can only get them $12,000 for $80, they're going to buy. Absolutely not, because there's no value. And what we're going to learn here is all about value selling to solve problems and bringing people value. Okay? So when they tell you, hey, were you looking to add on here? Or are you trying to find something more affordable? And they're like, well, I'm looking for something cheaper. Okay, gotcha. And who they end up, we're going to go ahead and get their policy information. Who do they end up putting you with? Well, I'm with Mutual of Omaha. Okay, great. That's so awesome. And how much coverage do you currently have in place with Mutual of Omaha? Well, 12,000 is what I have. Okay, lovely. And how much are they making you pay for that 12,000? I'm paying $81 a month. Oh wow, $81. That's kind of high. And is there one of those 2-year waiting periods? They might say, yeah, they did put me in a 2-year waiting period. Oh my gosh, why did they do that? Do you have cancer? No, they just said with my diabetes, I have to have a 2-year waiting period. Oh my gosh. Wow, Miss Betty, would it be helpful if I could find you something without a 2-year waiting period? She might say, oh, absolutely. Yeah. So it sounds like if you're looking for something cheaper and you could also find something without one of those 2-year waiting periods. Is that right? Okay. So then you've established the value. Okay. I'm going to take you guys into a little bit more in depth. So for example, I use a software that's called Insurance Toolkits. I'm not promoting or sponsoring. You can use any toolkits, but if you're a broker like myself, let's say Miss Betty tells you she has a $12,000 policy, and let's say she's born in 1966. Okay. And you can see, let's say she told you earlier her $12,000 policy was $80. But I can see that I can put her with any of these companies here, Mutual of Omaha, Baltimore Life, Transamerica, saving her $40 or more a month and getting her out of a 2-year waiting period. Do you think she would buy a policy? And the answer is easy. It would be a yes, because I could bring her value. So when you're in the script, in the first beginning of the intro, you always want to ask, what are you looking for? Are you looking for family? Are you trying to leave money behind to your loved ones? They don't have coverage. Or if they do have coverage, are you trying to find something cheaper? Or are you trying to find something, at a better price, and then always get the policy information? So let's go back to the script here. Let's just dissect this one more time, so we always know what we're looking for. Again, if they do have coverage, you're always going to get the policy information, because you're trying to dissect the value or the angle of value. And if they don't have any coverage, are you looking for something behind for the family, or trying to cover your bail expenses? And amongst that, you're always smiling, lowering their guard, and getting them to like you and providing information about, hey, I actually have your lead card information. I'm calling you for a reason. I'm just trying to help you. Okay, so that is the intro, just the beginning. We'll dive a little bit deeper here as we go into how we work. But the goal in the first intro is to figure out, what are we doing here? Okay, there's 4 things. Number 1, are we getting a burial policy? Let's write this down, burial policy. Are we going to leave a gift? Are we going to go ahead and save money / better policy? Or are we ultimately going to add extra? Okay, because they don't have enough. And if you can figure out that in the first 30 to 60 seconds, what the angle of value is, it's going to progress into the rest of the script easily, knowing, hey, this is what they're looking for. Can I help them? Can I provide them value? And if so, they're going to buy. So that is the intro. Let's go into how we work. So now we're going to jump into how we work. So previously we just learned finding the angle of value. Now, once you've gone through the intro, you've established that, you're going to go into the how we work section. This is a really, really simple section, so not going to be a lot of time here, but I want to share with you what we're doing. Basically, we're explaining to Miss Betty, our client, hey, here's the process, here's what we do, and here's how we're going to help you. Now, this is built for a brokerage. Like me, we shop the market for finding clients the cheapest plans. So if you're not a broker agent, you might not be able to say how we work, so you might have to change this portion. But ultimately, here's what we do. And this is the benefit of being a broker, okay? So I want you to understand this before we actually go into it. As a broker, I have access to all these different products: Mutual of Omaha, SBLI, Brokerage, Baltimore Life, American Amicable, CVS Aetna, Transamerica. Like, I have access to sell all these products, okay? Which allows me to be competitive in the marketplace. Like, you can just see right here is that for a $10,000, $12,000 policy for a 50-year-old female, the prices vary. For Mutual of Omaha, it's $36, all the way down to the most expensive, which I'm seeing here is $66 for AIG. So what do you think is going to be most helpful for your clients? What do you think is going to bring them the most value? That's finding probably the cheapest policy, especially when you're speaking to seniors who are on fixed incomes, who are, on Social Security or disability. They're really conscious of the price, and they're conscious about like waiting periods. So what I want you to know is that if you have great products, this is going to make it a lot easier for you to sell. And we'll dive a little bit deeper into it, but ultimately, how we work section is really important. So cater this to how you actually work inside of your own agency or own production or IMO, wherever you are. But how we work is this, okay? Now, Miss Betty, how we kind of work is that we just specifically help seniors find the most affordable and reduced rates that they may qualify for statewide. Okay. And the way that we're actually able to do that for you is that we work with all 26 companies here in the state. And my job is to help you find that most affordable plan that you may qualify for as a senior. Okay. Your tonality here is all around being a professional. It's straightforward. It's direct. You are just setting the table. you're letting Miss Betty know, hey, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to shop the market, I'm going to find you the cheapest rate, and basically help you find the most affordable plan. Does that sound good? She's going to say yes, and then you're going to move forward. Now, how we work here, if you're not doing a good job with the intro, a lot of times, I'm going to add in a little nugget for you here. If you're moving people in and how it works, like, hey, call me back, in the beginning of your intro, little side note I want to add in here. Intros are not to set appointments. Intros are not to go out there and say, oh, yeah, I'll call you later. Buyers are liars. So if you're taking them to the intro and then you're going to how we work and they're like, okay, well, can you do this later? Can you call me tomorrow? Can we schedule an appointment? You don't want to just end it there. You want to push through the intro. You want to make sure that you can go ahead and be like, absolutely, I can call you later. What time works well for you, and move forward. So you don't want to set an appointment. You don't want to be a professional appointment setter for final expense clients. If you are, you're going to get hung up on, and ultimately, they're not going to show up to their appointments. Move forward with confidence and take control of the situation. And then after you do that, we're going to go into the medical questions. Okay, let's jump into the medical section of the script so you can learn more about how to do that and how to underwrite. So now that we've gone through the medical section, it's time to dive into the credibility section. This is basically you establishing yourself, giving them the confidence they know who you are, and they can look you up. And it's ultimately, with the way of the world, selling life insurance over the phone. It just builds trust. This is all the credibility does. It's really simple. It's direct. I'll share with you a few pointers that are really important. But I do want to make a quick note here for the medical section. In the medical section, as you guys just learned, one of the biggest mistakes a lot of new agents make that I want to share with you. When you're here in the medical section, you need to understand exactly what company and carrier or product that you're going to sell them. So before you move from the medical section into the credibility, you need to have in your mind, like, hey, I'm going Mutual Omaha day one coverage, or I'm going American General 2-year waiting period. Whatever product you sell, you must know exactly at the end of underwriting where you are going. Too many agents make the mistake of not underwriting appropriately, and then they're like really confused, they're concerned, they don't know, and then they have all this doubt. So when they go into the close, the client's like, is that actually the best product? It's because they don't know how to underwrite. So a huge mistake is the underwriting section here. But now that you've established the underwriting, so you asked the last underwriting question. Let's say you know you're going to American General because they have cancer. You're going to go directly into the credibility part of the script. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys here briefly. So before we jump into it, it's just really important to me, Miss Betty, with the way of the world, that you know exactly who you're speaking to. So, with the way of the world today. So I just want to share some of my personal information. Do you have like a paper or a pen? So if they say yes, let them get the paper or pen. People who are buyers will typically do the things that you want them to do. So if they say yes, go ahead and get that, because if they can write down your name, if they can write down the quotes, if they can write down your information, higher likelihood, higher commitment, and just signs that they're going to go ahead and move forward. So little signs like that will be little indicators like, okay, this person probably has a problem and that they're going to buy. Okay. Now, if they say, oh, no, I don't have one right now because they're grumpy or just tired or don't want to get it, then it's your responsibility to use what's on the screen here. It says, well, go ahead and grab one for me. I'm sure you want to be able to write down some rates as well, period. Okay. So you're taking control. This is where you establish that you're in control, that you are helping them, that you are the one that's leading this conversation, not them steering the horse. You have to take them through the sales process. And if you don't, they're going to take control and they'll never make a decision. So when Miss Betty says, oh, no, I don't have one of those. Okay, well, go ahead and grab one for me, Miss Betty. I'm sure you want to write down some of my quotes here as well. Okay. And then she'll go ahead and grab one. And that's like a little red, like little green check mark knowing, hey, I moved her with my words here. I can probably move her with my words at the end too. Okay, so here's what you wanted to write down. So first and foremost, the first and last name, write this down, is Peter Roberts. I also want to give you my personal cell phone number. This is my personal number. You can call me. You can text me at any time. You need something. Just want you to know here, Miss Betty, I'm always going to be here for you and your family. Okay, that number is 123-456-8888. Okay, write that down. All right, and lastly, the state does require I share with you my government lookup identification number. With this number, it will share with you with the state that I am licensed. I've been through all the background checks, but most importantly, I have all the credentials to be speaking with you upon this today. That number is 1950 62 55 or something, whatever your NPN number is. This will establish a portion of credibility. This will allow you to ultimately set the frame of, hey, I'm the expert here. I have the credentials. I'm going to be helping you. I'm the professional. Let's go into the discovery. So we're going to progress. We've gone through the intro. We've gone through the medical section. We have just established credibility. Now it's time to actually start tackling the sales portion of the discovery. So let's go ahead and jump in there next. So let's go through the medical questions of the script. Earlier, we walked through how to enter into the insurance toolkits. This is a really, really important part of your script. Again, this is you becoming a doctor. This is basically the client virtually over the phone sitting in your doctor's office and you diagnosing them with their problems and understanding where you can put them in the best position. Okay, so overall tonality and shift that you need to have in this section is that you're an expert, that you're quick, that you know exactly how to help them, and that you do, you sound well versed. Okay. The minute they say, I don't know what that is, or I'm not sure COPD, I'm not really, what is the name of that medication? And there's doubt, like lingering, it's going to hurt your credibility throughout the sales call. So let's go through the medical questions. Again, you want to make sure that you, as you are going through your medical questions, that you have a separate window up or a separate computer and you're entering the information that you get. So when you ask the medical questions like, are you a smoker or have you used any type of nicotine products in the last 12 months? What's your height and weight? And they tell you that, you want to put that in there. You're going to put male, you're going to put the state that they're in. Let's say they're in Pennsylvania. Let's say they're 55 and they told you their height was 5'11", 200 pounds, and that they currently do not use smoker, then you're going to answer it. Okay. So as you ask the medical questions in the script, it's important for you to also enter them into the insurance toolkits so that you are, being smooth, you're being swift, and you're knowing how to underwrite them at the same time. So let's go through it real quick. I'm going to teach you guys how to like pair questions together, but ultimately how to go through the medical question. So the beginning is pretty simple. So I see here that, to see how I can best help you here, Mr. Jimmy, are you a smoker or using any nicotine or tobacco products in the last 12 months? They could say no. Okay. What is your approximate height and weight? Okay. And it shows here your birthday. I got your age as 56. Is that correct? Okay, perfect. Then we're going to jump into question 4, 5. We always want to group questions when we can, okay? And any heart attack, strokes, cancer before, any lung disease, COPD, asthma, inhalers, or respiratory problems, anything like that. So again, if they say yes to any of these questions, we need to, make sure that we put them on the toolkits. So if they say, I had a heart attack in 2021, right, so you're going to go back to the toolkits. You're going to put heart attack. Okay, here. Heart attack and 2021. Okay, and then you're going to hit next. And you're going to hit no. Okay, and then no. Okay. Same thing if they tell you that they had a stroke, they're going to put that in there. Same thing if they told you earlier too that they have COPD. Okay. So if they say yes to any of these questions, you want to dive deeper. You want to understand, okay, when was a heart attack? When was a stroke? What type of cancer did you have? When was the last treatment? Kind of what we went through earlier in our underwriting section. Okay. Then we're going to jump into, question 5. If they say they have lung disease or COPD, it's important to ask if yes to question 5, asking if they're on any oxygen or they're currently on any inhalers. Okay, so let's go through question 4 and 5 together one more time. So any heart attacks, strokes, or cancers before, any lung disease, COPD, asthma, inhalers, or respiratory problems, anything like that. So the goal is to be smooth and rapid. And if they say yes, then you're going right here, boom, into insurance toolkits, and you're going to be entering the information that they provide for you. Cool. Let's go into question number 6. Question number 6 is about diabetes. Now, if it's a diabetes lead, you're not going to ask them, do you have diabetes? We know that they already have diabetes, but if they are a non-diabetes lead, then we're going to figure out, if they have diabetes, yes or no. So let's say we already know that they're a diabetic because of the lead form, okay? And it shows here that you were diagnosed before the age of 50. Is that correct? Before or after, okay? And are you currently taking insulin or metformin? Oh, I'm taking insulin, okay? So if they say insulin, you're going to put the diabetes on here with no complications, and then you're going to put on here insulin use. Okay, what age did you start taking the insulin? Let's say it's 24. And then hit next, next, next. So right now we know that they're a diabetic and they're taking insulin. Okay. Then we're going to hit quote. Then in the script, what we're going to go through is, okay, any complications so far, any neuropathy, any retinopathy, any diabetic coma, or any amputations. These are the complications as we went through and trained on before. Neuropathy is the nerve damage, retinopathy is the eye damage, diabetic coma, or amputation is losing of a limb. Okay, so make sure that you remember those as well. Now, they might say that they have no complications, but they might then tell you, do you have ever used by chance been given any gabapentin or Lyrica?
So if they're diabetic and they say yes to this, then you know it's for neuropathy. So yeah, I'm taking a little bit of gabapentin. So what you're going to do is you're going to put gabapentin on here. And you're going to put that for, is that just for a little bit of tingling in the hands and feet? If they say yes, then you're going to put the neuropathy, and then you're going to hit continue. And now they have diabetic neuropathy. Okay, so it's important again to remember that the medications right here, gabapentin or Lyrica, will um, reveal medical conditions. Okay, so just to break through this again, are you currently taking insulin or metformin? You want to get that. Are you currently have any complications like any neuropathy, any retinopathy, any diabetic coma, or any amputations? And then you need to ask about gabapentin or Lyrica for nerve blockers. Okay, so really, really important. To understand that as well. Now, Royal Neighbors of America, they don't take any insulin use. Okay, you cannot use Royal Neighbors of America. You cannot have insulin. Okay, to get day one coverage. They've recently just moved this, no insulin. So let's go ahead and include that. Okay, is allowed at Royal Neighbors of America. Okay, really, really important. It's one of their knockout questions that they just added. Okay, so once you go through the diabetes questions, then you're going to go through any anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, anything like that. Okay, any kidney disease, any liver problems, any dementia, Alzheimer's disease, treatment for any memory loss. You're going to be grouping 7 and 8 together, 9 and 10 together. Again, speed is important here. You want to always move the ball forward by going through with speed. Okay. Now I want to give you some tips here. If someone's like, you ask them, are you on any anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, anything like that, or any kidney or liver problems? They say, oh yeah, I'm on depression. Then what you can do is you can be like, okay, are you taking any medications like Zoloft? Are you taking any medication like Prozac? Are you on duloxetine? Again, you guys want to study your medical sheet that's available for you in the important documents. But this is how you become a doctor. You are able to let them know the medications they're taking. You're able to predict the medications, and you can frame yourself as a full-on doctor by just saying, are you taking Prozac? Are you on quetiapine? Are you on, Zoloft? And if they say yes, then you go ahead again and just enter in those medications here. Zoloft. Put Zoloft on there. You hit that as depression, and now you just boosted your level of credibility, and you're going to frame yourself as the expert. So let's go through 7, 8, 9. Any anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, any kidney disease, any liver problems, any dementia, Alzheimer's disease, or any treatment for any memory loss. If they say yes, then you're going to go ahead and put that on. But that's exactly how I ask it. I would say stop and just remember this. If you need to listen to how people do the medical questions, listen to our agents in the call reporting, and listen to their sales calls who've been doing this. It's smooth, it's crisp, and just study those calls as you learn this. So let's put it all together so far in the end here, but let's go through the last section here. Any dementia, Alzheimer's disease, any treatment, any AIDS, HIV, ARC, or any alcohol or drug abuse? If yes, put it on the toolkits. And then you're going to go ahead and get the medications. And are you currently taking any heart medications like lisinopril, amlodipine, atorvastatin, anything like that? And if they say yes, then you're going to ask about, okay, gotcha. And are you taking any water pills like furosemide or Lasix or Carvedilol, anything like that? So again, you were spitting off medications to build credibility, to allow yourself to, frame yourself as the expert. It's really, really important. These medications too are basically congruent to congestive heart failure. So if they're on a ton of water pills with a ton of heart medications, then it's going to reveal to you that they have congestive heart failure. So that's why we want to always ask about these medications. Okay, so then you're going to go ahead and get get all their medications. Then, are you currently taking any other medications? You want to get as many medications, any lists, any, prescriptions that they have. You want to gather as much information as possible so that you can put that on your toolkits. And lastly, you're going to ask about COVID-19 in the last 60 days, and then you're going to ask about any recent surgeries or hospitalizations in the past 2 years. Okay, so let's go through this together as if I were doing it with a client. Okay, so now to see how I can best help you here, Johnny, are you a smoker or using any type of nicotine or tobacco products in the last 12 months? Okay, no? Okay, awesome. And what's a good, approximate height and weight for you? Okay, 5'6", 200 pounds. Perfect. And it shows here your birthday is 2/11 of 1955. Is that right? Okay, got that. Well, and then Johnny, for you, any heart attack, strokes, cancers before, any lung disease, COPD, any asthma, inhalers, or respiratory concerns, anything like that? Perfect. Okay, and you did mention that you did have the diabetes. You were diagnosed before the age of 50. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. Also, are you taking any insulin or are you taking metformin? Oh, you're on the insulin? Okay, gotcha. And any complications like any neuropathy, retinopathy, diabetic coma, or any amputations? Okay, great. And then by chance, did they ever give you any like nerve blockers like Lyrica or gabapentin? They didn't? Okay, perfect. Now, any anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, anything like that, or any kidney or liver problems by chance? Nope. Okay, awesome. And then any dementia, Alzheimer's, treatment for any memory loss, any AIDS, HIV, ARC, any alcohol, drug abuse history, anything like that? Okay, perfect. Okay, and are you taking any heart medications like amlodipine, lisinopril, I cut out on me there for it. Says, are you taking any lisinopril, amlodipine, atorvastatin, anything like that? If they say yes, okay, perfect. Are you taking any water pills like furosemide, Lasix, or carvedilol? They say yes, okay. Any congestive heart failure by chance? Yes, okay. If they say they are not taking any medications, okay. What medications are you taking? Okay, perfect. And any COVID in the last 60 days by chance, Mr. Johnny? Nope. Okay, great. And any recent surgeries or hospitalizations in the past 2 years? Anything like that? Nope. Awesome. Well, Mr. Johnny, this is looking great for you. Sounds super great. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next section. So that's important. It's important to remember that you never want to shame them or make them feel bad for sharing the medical. You always want to have a positive light and always build them up when they share with you the medical information so that they feel comfortable with you moving forward. So this is an important, again, at the end of this section, okay, this is so crucial. At the end of the medical questions, you need to know exactly what company you are going with. You need to know exactly, man, I'm going SBLI, I'm going to hit compare, and boom, I am ready to jump into the next portion of the script. So we're going to go into the discovery section. This is really the most important section of our script that we're going to be spending the most time in training, teaching you, and I need you to understand as you come prepared into day one. Okay, so discovery is going to be broken down to 3 questions. This module number 1 is going to be question number 1. I want you to understand what is the goal of question number 1 and what you are looking for in question number 1. Okay, so after we've done the credibility, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go right into question number 1. Question number 1 is this. Okay, you can see it's highlighted. Now, enough about me here, John. Kind of like fill me. What had you motivated to start looking around for some life insurance now? Okay, so this question you're going to deliver with curiosity. Our goal is to help them understand. Like we're just trying to figure out why did they start looking around for life insurance. So I'm going to go ahead give you that question one more time. So question number 1 is now enough about me. Kind of like fill me in. What had you motivated to start looking around for some life insurance now? Question mark. Okay. So this question, very curious, open-ended. You always want to use this word motivated. And a few things here that I want you to understand about the discovery. Number 1, stick to the script. You're never going to change this question. You're never going to try to implement a new question. Always stick to question 1. Okay, but I want to help you understand what is the goal of question 1? What are you trying to get? You are trying to get, if you can scroll down a little bit, you can see our goal is to get the client to open up and tell you that they are looking to cover or leave money behind, cover their burial expenses or leave money behind to their family. Question 1 is all about getting a clear why. Why are you looking for life insurance? Okay. Now, if you don't get that clear why, your job is to use these filler questions to open the prospect up to eventually get to the goal of what you are looking for. Okay. So let me give you an example. So, for example, I asked John, now, enough about me, John. Kind of fill me in. What had you motivated to start looking around for some life insurance? He tells me, oh, I'm just getting older. Okay. One thing that we're always going to do throughout the question 1, 2, and 3, write this word down and highlight it. It's mirroring. So anytime that the prospect tells me something, I'm going to start my first sentence with his words. Okay. That's called mirroring. Okay. So let's backtrack a little bit. Let's put this all together. Now, enough about me, John. Kind of fill me in. What had you motivated to even start looking around for some life insurance now? Well, I'm just getting older. I want to make sure everything is taken care of, he says. Okay, I'm going to mirror that back. Okay, gotcha. So you're just getting a bit older and you just want to make sure that everything gets taken care of. Is that about right? Yeah, that's about right. Okay, well, kind of fill me in. When you say you want everything to be taken care of, if the client does not open up, what do you mean by that? Well, he says, well, I just want to make sure, I got everything in order when I die. Okay, we still haven't got him to say those magical words that we're looking for. So we're going to mirror it back and move forward. Okay, you just want to make sure that you got everything in order when that time comes. Is that about right? And kind of fill me, what's the goal of the life insurance, John? What do you want to make sure gets taken care of? Well, I just want to make sure that when I die, my burial expenses are taken care of. Ding ding ding. That is what you were looking for. Oh, I gotcha. So you just want to make sure that when you die, all of your burial expenses are completely taken care of. Is that what I'm hearing, John? Boom. Now, remember this, when you get the clear goal, that gives you permission to go to your question number 2. Okay? But question number 1 is all about sticking to what is the goal? What do you want to make sure gets taken care of? And ultimately, if they give you the answer, then you can progress. But if they don't, you have to open them up to get the answer that you're looking for. Okay? Let me give you another situation. Okay? Let's do this. So let's ask question 1. Pause, you do it. Ask me the question. Okay, so you said, now enough about me. Kind of fill me in. What had you motivated to start looking around for some life insurance now? Some people are going to say this. Well, I just want to make sure that when I pass away, that my husband and my kids are not stuck with my burial arrangements. I want to make sure that they're not left with that bill. Okay, that's great news for us. We don't need to open them up. We don't need to ask them a deeper question. They gave us the answer that we're looking for. So that what we can do is, oh, I gotcha. So you just want to make sure that when you pass away, your husband and your kids are not stuck with your burial expenses. Is that about right? When you get the answer that you're looking for, you can then go on to question number 2. Okay, so that's what I really want you to understand about question number 1. What is the goal of question number 1? What are we looking for in question number 1? Write that down. Remember this. This is going to come up often. What is the goal of question number 1? The goal of question number 1 is to make sure that you get a clear answer. The client admits why they're looking for life insurance, and that why is that they want to cover their burial expenses or leave money behind to their loved ones. Our goal is to get that clear why. I can't stress that enough, okay? And if you don't get the clear why, you as the agent must ask deeper, probing questions to get them to admit, well, when I die, I want to make sure that all my burial expenses are taken care of. Cool? When you get that answer, you can move on to question number 2, and we're going to go ahead and break down question number 2 now. So now that we've gotten the prospect to admit they are looking to cover their burial expenses, now that we've got that clear why they are looking to cover their burial expenses, our goal is to now go on to question number 2. Okay. For this situation, I'm going to basically just break it down as, let's say they do not have any coverage in place. Okay. So question number 2 is split off into if they don't have life insurance or if they do have life insurance, because the value is going to be different. For this situation, for question number 2, let's assume that they do not have any current life insurance. This is typically one of the easiest problems to solve because they don't have any coverage in place. Okay. Let's go ahead and break this down slowly. Okay. Prospect has just told you that when they die, they want to cover their burial expenses. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through question number 2. Say, question number 2 is this. Okay. And God forbid, and if something happened to you and you didn't have that coverage in place, Miss Betty, who would be responsible for sitting down with the funeral director, planning all the arrangements, and ultimately paying for your burial expenses? Okay. You're going to get a name. Okay. This is what I call getting the target on someone's back. Let's put that in this. Target on someone's back. Okay. Why is this important? Okay. because in order to buy life insurance, someone has to almost suffer or go through some type of pain. Okay, so when you get the name, you're going to put the target on someone's back. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this all together. Okay, and God forbid if something were to happen to you and you didn't have the coverage in place, who would it be that would be responsible for, sitting down with the funeral director, putting all the arrangements, and ultimately paying for your burial expenses, Miss Mary? Oh, it'd be my husband. Oh my gosh, it'd be your husband? Wow, and would your husband be in a position where he could come out of pocket $10,000 to $15,000 for your burial expenses? Oh no. Oh my gosh, he couldn't? Wow. So what would that look like? I mean, what would he have to do? Would he have to raise money, knock on doors, start a GoFundMe? I mean, what would your husband have to do? Well, it's going to be really difficult for him. Okay. Wow. And when you say it's going to be difficult, what do you mean by that? Well, he don't have the money. He's on disability, so he's going to have to probably get a loan from the bank. Oh my gosh, so he's on disability. He doesn't have the money and he's probably going to have to get a loan from the bank. Wow. And do you feel like he could get approved for a loan, or what would that look like for him? And then you can keep diving deeper. Okay. So I'm going to break down this a little bit more in depth. Okay. So you're basically asking who's the one that's sitting down at the funeral home, paying for all the arrangements, and ultimately paying for your burial expenses. Then the prospect's going to give you a name: their husband, their wife, their daughter, their friend, their sister. Okay. Then you're going to ask the follow up question is, wow, and would your sister be in a position where she could come out of pocket, $10,000 to $15,000 to pay for your burial expenses? They're most likely going to say no. Okay. When they say no, then it's our job to dive deeper to paint the picture. Okay. Oh my goodness. So what would that look like? Would your sister, she have to like raise money? Would she have to knock on doors, start a GoFundMe? I mean, what would she have to do? How is she going to come with this money? Okay. Then you're really challenging them and helping them understand if they die and they can't come up with the 10 to 15,000, what are they going to have to go through? This is called painting the picture. Okay. Our job as agents is to help them understand the reality of their situation. It's by painting the picture. What are they going to have to do? Okay. Now, a lot of times these people don't want to explain the depth of how bad it's going to be for their family. So, what they're going to say is, well, I don't know. It's going to be really hard. Okay. Or it's going to be tough. Or I'm not sure. As agents, our job is to open people up, and that's not acceptable to take those answers. Okay. So, what you would do is then use a follow up question, which is like, walk me through that. What do you mean when it's going to be tough? Or what do you mean when you say it's going to be hard? Or what do you mean when you say you're not sure? Can you help me understand? What are they actually going to have to go through? Okay. So in question 2, we're really just trying to help them understand what is happening if they die without life insurance, who's going to be burdened, and what are they going to have to go through. And our job is to get the client to spill the beans on how bad their situation is going to be. Okay, so let's put it together one more time so that you can go ahead and do it with me. Okay, so question 2. God forbid if something were to happen to you, Miss Betty, and you didn't have this coverage in place. I mean, who would it be that would be responsible with sitting down with the funeral director, planning all the arrangements, and ultimately paying for all your burial expenses? Who would that fall on? Oh, your son? Oh my gosh, your son Jimmy, it'd fall on him. And wow, and would your son Jimmy, would he be in a position where he could come out of pocket, $10,000 or $15,000 for your burial expenses? Oh no, he couldn't. Wow. I mean, what would that look like for your son Jimmy? Would he have to like raise money? Would he have to knock on doors? Would he have to start a GoFundMe? I mean, what would Jimmy have to do? Well, I don't know. He's got a family. It's going to be really hard for him. Oh my gosh. So he's got a family. And when you say it's going to be hard for him, I mean, really paint that picture for me. Walk me through. What do you think he'd have to do to have to really come up with this money if you passed away tomorrow? Oh, well, he'd probably have to sell his motorcycle and ultimately have to, raise the money. Okay? So that's the bulk of question number 2. Now, to finish off question 2, what we want to go ahead and implement is what's called a um, a consequence summary. Okay, so check this out. We'll pause here together to process this all. I know it's a lot. So Miss Betty just told me that if she dies, it's gonna fall on the bill's gonna fall on Jimmy. Her son Jimmy doesn't have the $15,000, and then if he doesn't have the 15,000, he's gonna have to sell his assets to come up with the money. Okay, really tough situation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a consequence summary. I'm gonna do it, and then give yourself pause this, and then do it with me. Okay, so wow, so it just sounds like Miss Betty, as a mother, that if you don't get this coverage in place, that your son Jimmy, that he's going to, he doesn't have the money, that he's going to have to, he has a family, that he's going to have to sell his assets, he's going to have to sell his motorcycle, and he's going to have to come up with this money or even start a GoFundMe to pay for your burial expenses. And ultimately, as a mother, you just don't want to put him in that position. Is that about right? So what I'm doing is I'm explaining the consequence. If you don't get this life insurance, here's what your son is going to have to go through. Okay, so let's do this one more time. So let me give you a new situation. Okay, let's say my name is Betty. Miss Betty, she tells you that when she dies, it's going to fall on her husband. Her husband's on disability. He doesn't have the money, and he's going to have to go to the kids, but the kids don't have money because they have a family that they're going to have to probably get a loan. Okay, so you're going to explain that into a consequence summary. Okay, so it sounds like to me, Miss Betty, as a mother, that if you do not get this coverage in place, that your husband, Jim Tom, he doesn't have the money, he's on disability, he doesn't have the means, and ultimately he's going to then have to go to your daughter, Sarah, or your son, Jonathan, and they have families of their own, they can't afford it, and ultimately, they're going to be passed this massive burden that they can't even keep, and they're going to be stuck with this bill, and ultimately they're probably going to have to go ahead and raise money since you didn't have any life insurance in place. Is that all about right? And that's the power recap or the consequence summary. Okay, so that is question number 2. The big thing that I want you to understand is question number 2 is all about, number 1, who's the person that's responsible for this bill if they don't get this taken care of? What are they going to have to go through? This bill's going to get passed to someone. What are they going to go through? How are they going to come up with the money? Do they have the money? No, they don't. And number 3 is paint the picture of what are they actually going to go have to. Walk me through. If you died today, what does that look like for your son? What does that look like for that person? Because remember this, people buy life insurance to prevent someone else from going through misery. Okay, so keep pushing through. This is question number 2, practices. Pause, go through question number 1, and then put that together with question number 2. Really learn these concepts before we go to question number 3. So we're going to break down question number 3 of the discovery. This is a really important question. I'm going to explain why T here in a second, but I want to first break down question number 1, question number 2, and now we're getting into question number 3. So question number 1 was to clearly get in the discovery. Why are they looking for life insurance? What is the goal? And getting them to admit that they want to cover their burial expenses or leave money behind. Okay. Then we're speaking to them about question number 2, which is like, if you pass away, who's the one that's going to be stuck with the burden? It's going to be my daughter. Okay. Then we're going to break down the pain. Does your daughter have the money? No, she doesn't. What is your daughter going to have to go through? And then provide a summary. So it sounds like to me that your daughter will have to go through X, Y, and Z if you don't have this life insurance. So question 1 is the why, question 2 is the pain, and question number 3 is all about helping them understand, or helping us understand, why haven't they made a decision or why haven't they solved this problem yet? Okay, check this out. Miss Betty just told you she wants to cover your burial expenses. Miss Betty just told you that when she dies, her daughter Sarah is going to be in a really bad position. Her daughter Sarah is going to have to go through a loan. Her daughter Sarah is going to be put in this really, really bad position. So, like, we're asking ourselves, why haven't you solved this problem yet? And that's what question number 3 is going to allow us to understand. Because if we can understand why they haven't moved forward, and we can help them understand how to move forward, then they're going to go ahead and purchase. Okay, so let me go ahead and break down question number 3. Question number 3 is this. Wow, Miss Betty, I mean, I can hear it in your voice. It sounds like this is pretty important to you. I mean, have you been looking around for something like this for a while now, or is this something that you realize you just kind of need? Okay. So, curious tone here. Yeah, for a few months I've been looking around. Okay, for a few months. And what's been kind of going on? Have you just not been able to find anything comfortable and affordable for you? Oh, well, it's been too expensive. It's been too high. I'm on a fixed income. Oh my, then I'm going to respond, "Oh my goodness. Wow, what have they been telling you, Miss Betty?" Well, for the 10,000 it was $87. Oh my goodness. So it sounds like to me that you really value having the life insurance. You just need to make sure that you can find something that's comfortable and affordable for you. Is that about right? So what I've understood from this conversation is that she wants to buy the life insurance, but the problem is the 10,000 is costing too much money. Okay? So I don't know where my camera is, but we'll keep going through. So what that means is that if I could find her something that is cheaper than what she's probably been seeing, she'll probably move forward. The biggest hurdle, the biggest objection, the reason that this person was not buying is because it's too expensive. Now, we'll check this out. Okay? So let's say she says the 10,000 has been too expensive. And this is why we asked this question. Well, the 10,000, it was too much money. It was $84. And I can see on my toolkits, if I put in 10,000, I put her female, 65, diabetes with complications, and I hit get quote, and I see that the 10,000 is $48 with me. What does that mean? That I'm probably going to help her, that she's probably going to buy, that there's value here. Okay, so when you're going through the script of question 3, it's important to get information so you can understand how to position your products, but understand if there's any angles of value. So let's go back to the script one more time. Let me give this example. I can hear it in your voice, Miss Betty. It sounds like this is pretty important to you. I mean, have you been looking around for something like this for like a while now, or is this something that you realize you just kind of need? Oh no, I've been looking for a few months. Oh, gotcha. So you've been looking for a few months, and have you been just not been able to find anything comfortable and affordable for you? What's been kind of going on? Oh, it's too expensive. Everything is too high. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna respond. Oh my, I mean, what have they been telling you, Miss Betty? Well, for the 10,000, it was $75. I That was the last guy. He quoted me. It's too high. Oh, so it sounds like to me that you really value having the life insurance. You need it. You just got to make sure that you just need to make sure you can find something that's comfortable and affordable for your budget. Is that about right? And then you can see in your toolkits, boom, there's value here. I can go a lot cheaper, a lot cheaper, a lot cheaper. Okay. So really, we're just trying to figure out what their previous concerns are. Why haven't they not moved forward? Okay. Last little example for you here is, let me give you like a waiting period example. Okay. So I can hear it in your voice. Do this with me. I can hear it in your voice. It sounds like this is pretty important to you, Peter. I mean, have you been looking around for something like this for like a while now, or is this something that you realize you just kind of need? Yeah, I've been looking around for a few months. Okay. What's been kind of going on? Have you just not been able to find anything comfortable and affordable for you? What's been kind of happening? Client responds, well, everyone that I've been speaking with is trying to put me in a 2-year waiting period. Oh my goodness, they're trying to put you in a 2-year waiting period? So it sounds like to me that you really value have the life insurance, but you just need to make sure that you can find something that's comfortable and affordable for you and that does not have one of those 2-year waiting periods. Is that about right? Absolutely. So what's the value here? So if I can find good old Jim Tom a policy with no 2-year waiting period, do you think he'd buy the life insurance? Absolutely. So you got to really figure out, and this is why your product knowledge is important. Your underwriting has to be sharp here so you can have these value props. Okay. So question number 3 is all about why, figuring out why they haven't moved forward and trying to solve that so that they will move forward with you. Okay. So let's break these down. This is really discovery in a nutshell. Question one is, get them to admit the clear goal is to cover the burial expenses, the clear why. Question 2 is all about getting a clear pain. Who's responsible? What are they going to have to go through? Paint the picture. And question number 3 is all about, sounds important to you. Why haven't you bought the life insurance? And try to solve for that. And then you can move forward to go to question number 4. So pause, read this over and over. Little reminder, read the script like your life depends on it. Read it 30, 40 times over, 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 over. I promise you, you will absolutely crush on day 1 if you take it seriously and memorize this script. We're going to go into question number 4 about finding the need. but don't move forward until you have question 1, 2, and 3 down. Practice this, please. So now that we've moved on from question 1, 2, and 3, let's go to question number 4, 5, and 6. We're going to go ahead and go through the script together so that you can understand it, keep practicing, and keep reading it. So question number 4 is all about finding the specific need. Okay, this you understanding, are they going the burial route, cremation, or are they just not sure? Okay, let's go ahead and read it together. It's pretty straightforward and simple. Okay, well, I'm going to do my best here for you, Miss Betty. I want to let you know that I'm always going to be here for you and your wife. Now, Miss Betty, are you planning for more a formal burial, or are you going the cremation route? Okay, if she says burial, okay, gotcha. So having anywhere between $20,000 to $25,000 to cover all of your burial expenses now and into future is really all you're looking for. Is that correct? If she says cremation, okay, so having anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000 to cover all of your cremation expenses now and in the future is all that you're looking for. Is that correct? Yes. She says, well, I'm not really sure. Whatever my kids want to do with me. Okay. So it sounds like with whatever option that you do go with, Miss Betty, you just want to make sure that you have enough coverage in place to cover all of your funeral expenses now and into the future. Okay. So question 4 is all about finding the specific need. Now, here's why it's important. If Miss Betty is telling you that she wants to cover a basic burial and she's like, I want to go the burial expense route, and she's like, I want to go the funeral, the burial, natural, the formal burial, and you go ahead and pitch her a $7,000 option, a $5,000 option, and an $8,000 option. She's going to be like, that's not going to solve my problem. Okay. So what you are trying to understand is what is their need? Okay. The goal here is to solve their problems. Okay. So if Miss Betty's 75 and we're in our toolkits and we're going to Transamerica, we're going to want to quote her a good $12,000 policy, probably a good $15,000 policy, and always the max policy, which we'll go into later. So you're going to pitch to solve for problems, and that's what you're going to be able to understand: 12,000, 15,000, and 25,000. Now, if she's going for a cremation, you're probably going to start with a 5,000, a 7,000, and then probably the max option still. So why this question is important, going back to the script, is because it allows you to understand what their need is. And if you undersell them life insurance, or if you don't give them enough life insurance for what they're trying to solve for, they're not going to want to move forward. So really important, this question captures, are they going burial? If so, make sure that you pitch them enough for a burial. Are they going cremation? If so, make sure you pitch enough that they're going cremation. If you're not sure, make sure you pitch kind of a combination of options. So question 4, read it word for word with me here one last time. Okay, well, I'm going to do my best here for you, Miss Betty. I just want to let you know that I'm always going to be here for you and your daughter. Now, are you planning for a formal burial, or are you going the cremation route? Okay, so practice that a few times over and over and over. Go into your toolkits and start playing around so you can understand how to position your numbers. Okay. After that, you're going to move on to question number 5. Question 5 is just as easy as question number 4. You're just going to go ahead and read it off the sheet here. Okay. And Miss Betty, are there any other burial expenses or any other large bills or debts that you're worried about leaving behind to your daughter? If she says no, just go ahead, process it, and move on to question number 6. But what happens is a lot of times your clients will be like, oh, yeah, well, I have $4,000 left on my trailer, or I have $7,000 that I want to, that I have left on my car. Okay. So that when you understand what the other bills are, you can kind of ultimately pitch to solve their problems, because not only are they covering their burial, so they probably need about $15,000 for their burial, they're also going to need another like $5,000 or $7,000 for the car, right? So you can start packaging your products to help understand or solve for their need. Okay, I'm going to give an example. Let's say Miss Betty tells you that she's going the burial route, but she also has $5,000 left on her car payment that she doesn't want to fall behind to her daughter. Okay, you're going to pitch her enough to cover her burial, which could be 12, 15,000, and then on top of that another 5,000 to cover her car payment. So you probably want to look at like a good $20,000, because that would cover the burial, and it's also going to cover the funeral. So just be mindful. Question number 4 is all about what they're looking for. Question number 5, is there any other extras that you're going to add on there? Okay. Now, after you do question 4 and 5, put those together. Then you do what's called the power recap and the power summary. Okay. So we're going to pause here. So we just done question 3, we've done question 4, we've done question 5. Now we're going to go ahead and recap everything together. Okay. And this is just being a good listener. Okay, so recap. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, Miss Betty. It sounds like to me as a mother that you just want to make sure that if something happens to you, that your daughter, Sarah, is in good hands. You want to ensure that she's not stuck with your funeral expenses. You want to ensure that she's not stuck with the $5,000 car payment that's left on your car. And ultimately, you know that she has a family, that she can't afford any of these burial expenses. And you want to do whatever it takes to make sure that your daughter is taken care of and that she's not stuck with these big burdens or these burial expenses and these big debts. And you just want to do whatever you can to make sure she's taken care of. Have I left anything out? Okay. So this is just the power summary. You're going to summarize it all together, making sure that she's on the same page. She's going to be like, absolutely. Yep, that's exactly right. And then you're going to go ahead and skip if you want to. This is an optional question. We're not going to train on this yet. This is more in-depth training. You're going to go ahead and go to question number 6. Okay. And question number 6 is the little something question. Okay. Question 6 is this, and if they don't have coverage, okay, and Miss Betty, since you don't have any coverage in place, would you say having a little something in place is better than having nothing at all? So what this is basically getting to admit is that having a little bit life insurance is better than having nothing at all, okay? So you only use that if they do not have life insurance. Now, if they currently have a $5,000 plan or they already have a $10,000 plan, you're going to go ahead and use the yes coverage response, which is, okay, and Miss Betty, would you say having like a little extra life insurance in place, would that help give you the peace of mind that you're looking for? She's going to say yes. Okay. So you're basically preparing the downsell. So let's go through question 4, 5, and 6. 4 is find the specific need. Are they going the burial, cremation, so they can understand how to prepare your numbers in the close? Okay. Burial, cremation. Question number 5, is there any other bills or debts? Okay. And before you go to number 6, you're going to do a power summary with everything above that. So you're going to talk about question number 1, question number 2, question number 3, question number 4, all of that here in the power summary. You're going to ask, have I left anything out? She's probably going to say no. And number 6 is the little something question. If they do not have life insurance, okay, and since you do not have any life insurance in place right now, Miss Betty, would you say having like a little something is better than having nothing at all? If she says yes, great. And now if she does have coverage, and would you say having a little extra life insurance, would that help give you the peace of mind that you've been looking for? So that's going to go ahead and create the downsell. So practice that before we move on to the killing zombies question. Practice this. Again, read the script, practice your script over and over and over. Get the flow, make it smooth like butter so that you can crush it, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the next module. But before then, practice this. So what we're going to go through is explaining the product. So we've just gone through a ton. We went through this full discovery. We've gone through the financial inventory. Now the next step is explaining the product, okay? So just as it states here, let's run through it really quickly for you guys. It's, okay, now John, what we're going to be looking at here is whole life insurance. You let me know if this is exactly what you are looking for, okay? It's something where that monthly payment is never going to go up. That coverage amount will never go down, and it's something that will never expire on you. It's going to be there for you your whole life so that you can go to bed at night knowing that no matter what, your wife is taken care of. Is that kind of what you're looking for? So the biggest thing to demonstrate when you're going through the explaining the product is explaining it's going to be that whole life. So it's the inflections in your tonality, the whole life insurance, and ultimately too, it's something where that monthly payment is never going to go up. The coverage amount will never go down, and it's something that will never expire. It's going to be there for you your whole life so that you can go to bed at night knowing that no matter what, your wife is taken care of. Is that kind of what you're looking for? So super simple. Practice that a few times. That's how we explain the product. There's this inflex. It's never going to go up. It's never going to go down, and it's going to be there for you. It's never going to expire. It's going to be there for you your whole life so that you, John, can go to bed no matter what, knowing that your son or your daughter is always taken care of. Is that kind of what you're looking for? So now we're going to go through the pitching of the options. So we explain the product. Now it's pitching the option. So As of now, earlier in the medical underwriting, you've identified exactly what company you're going to be going through. Now it's time to pitch this company to the prospect. Okay, so you're going to start off every single call the same here when it comes to pitching the option. So, all right, here, John, and I plugged in all your information. It shows you that you are eligible for the best option statewide out of all 26 companies. And it's with a company called Savings Bank Life Insurance. Have you heard of them before? They might tell you yes. If they tell you no, you're going to basically respond and saying, "Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you probably have. I mean, they've been on TV for a while now. I mean, they've been in business since 1907." So we're going to plug in the business since at each of these, you know, carriers. You're going to see the date that they were founded. For example, Sika was 1969, Royal was 1895. So you're going to plug in. So it's been, I mean, they've been in business since 1907 and they haven't missed a payout claim in over 100 years. They're just a really well known and established company. They're also A rated with the state, which means that they pay out their claims in 24 to 48 hours. And they're also backed by the Better Business Bureau with an A plus rating. Okay. Then you're going to go into what's called understanding the medical underwriting. Why are you putting them in this position? Also, for you here, Miss Betty, they are the only company with your high blood pressure medication and your COPD that will not make you wait 2 years, which is an absolute blessing. Which means if something were, God forbid, to happen to you tomorrow, your daughter will get that full policy payout in 24 to 48 hours. So, after you explain the company, you're then going to explain the value proposition. For example, if you're doing the same thing with Royal Neighbors, or let's do Citizens Life of America. Okay, let's do Sika next. So let's run through it together. Also, so I plugged in all your information here, John. It shows that you are eligible for the best option statewide out of all 26 companies. It's with a company called Citizens Life of America. You're always going to say the full name of the company, not just the abbreviation. It's Citizens Life of America. Okay, they've been in, have you heard? So let's restart. Also, plug in your information. It's with the company. Out of all 26 companies, all right, rewind. So, all right, so I plugged in all your information. It shows that you should be eligible for the best option statewide out of all 26 companies with the company called Citizens Life of America. Have you heard of them before? The client might say no. Well, you probably have. I mean, they've been on TV for a while now. I mean, they've been in business since 1969 and they haven't missed a payout claim in over 80 years. They're just a really well-known and established company, and they're also A-rated with the state, which means that they pay out their claims within 24 to 48 hours. And they're also backed by the Better Business Bureau with an A-plus rating, okay? Now, with you here at Sika, they're also the only company with your kidney disease, with your retinopathy, with your diabetic neuropathy that will not make you wait 2 years, Miss Betty, which is an absolute blessing. Which means if, God forbid something were to happen to you tomorrow, your daughter will get this full policy payout within 24 to 48 hours. Do you see how important that is? So this is how we're explaining the products. We're explaining, who they are. It's very short, how long they've been in business, and ultimately the value proposition of why they are the best company. Okay. Then you're going to go into the members benefits portion. But let's go through, let's put one more together. Let's do Royal Neighbors of America. So, all right, so I plugged in all your information. It shows here that you are eligible for the best option statewide out of all 26 companies. And it's with a company called Royal Neighbors of America. Have you heard of them before? No, I haven't. Well, I mean, they've been in business since 1895. They're also so they've been in business since 1895, and they haven't missed a payout claim in over 100 years. Just a really well-known and established company, and they're also A-rated with the state, which means that they pay out their claims in 24 to 48 hours. They're also backed by the Better Business Bureau with an A plus rating. Okay, so ultimately, they're also the only company with your, diabetic neuropathy that will not make you wait one of those full 2 year waiting periods, which is an absolute blessing, which means if something, God forbid, were to happen to you tomorrow, your daughter will get that full policy payout within 24 to 48 hours. Do you see how important that is? And they're going to say yes. Then you're going to move into what's called the members benefit section. Okay. So I want you guys to learn what the members benefit section is. Okay. Specific companies, which we'll share with you, have certain members benefits, and I'm going to break that down for you in the next video.
I want to share with you how to structure your offer. So let's say for video sake that we're going to be selling life insurance to, so we're selling a Mutual of Omaha product. I'm a brokerage, we're a brokerage. We have access to a lot of different carriers. So let's say we are going to sell Mutual of Omaha to a client. So what I'm going to share with you first is the pricing points that I like to understand. First thing is, before we go into the close, very, very important to us to understand kind of what their needs are. Are they looking to cover the burial expenses? Are they looking to leave money behind? Are they trying to cover a cremation? And in this situation, you want to structure your offer. You want to create a solution that's going to solve their previous problem. So hopefully you've done a good job moving them forward, understanding what the problem is. So for this example, I'm going to share with you how to sell final expense life insurance to Mr. Jimmy, who wants to cover his burial expenses and possibly leave a few extra dollars behind to his son, because he's on a fixed income and he has to see what he can afford. So first thing that I like to do is structure 3 offers. So a lot of us get to the end, we don't know how to start it. So the 3 offers are, number 1, it's going to be your starter option, which is around a good $45 to $50 starting point. The second option is going to be the most common option. This is the most common. I'm going to share with you why we label it this way and ultimately how it's going to be probably the option that they're going to pick. And then the third is the max option. So before I go into it, I'm going to go ahead and load up the first thing is my starter option is going to be here. Let's say here's $12,000 for the burial. The most common is a $15,000 program, and then the max option is going to be a $30,000 option. So what I like to do is, all right, Mr. Johnny, first thing is I want you to pitch the company first. Let them know who they're working with. Mr. Johnny, what we're going to be looking at here, I found you the best option statewide. It's with a company called Mutual of Omaha. Have you heard of them before? He's going to say no or yes. Oh, yeah, I've seen them on the TV. Okay, gotcha. Well, Mr. Johnny, they've been in business since, let's say 1964. They are A-rated with the state, and they have not missed a payout in 20, over 60 years. Just a very well-known and established company. Okay, Johnny, the most important thing to recognize and to understand is that if, God forbid, something happens to you, your daughter, your son will get this policy payout in 24 to 48 hours, and it's a prestigious A-rated company, okay? So I like to understand, and first, as we go into the build-up or the close, is help them understand that they are going to be placed with a very reputable and a very powerful company that actually pays out their death claims, okay? If they don't know who John Cena's insurance company is, they're going to be like, wait, I don't care how good the offer is. If they're not an established company, I don't want the life insurance. So first thing is to build up the company. Now, the second thing is to set expectations and to set that down sale. So, okay, Johnny, so I'm going to show you here 3 options, Mr. Johnny. Now, you can go up, down, sideways based off of your budget and your needs, but it's just very important today, Mr. Johnny, that we find something that's comfortable and affordable for you, and ultimately something that's going to help you, give you that peace of mind moving forward. Okay, does that make sense? He's going to say yes. So basically what you're doing here is you're working with Mr. Johnny. Mr. Johnny, what we're going to find you is something that you can keep, that's going to give you the peace of mind, and it's going to be comfortable for you. I have a solution in place. You're just going to let me know, it's assuming the sale here, what kind of help suits your budget and your needs, okay? What's going to help you sleep better at night? Ultimately, in these 3 options, we must understand in the close that is what we are selling. We are selling peace of mind. We're selling comfort. We're selling a way that they can sleep better at night inside the product. Again, this is an invisible product, so you have to learn how to structure your offer. You have to learn how to create so much value in a product that they're never going to physically use themselves, and they're going to tie in their emotions here to help sell and to close the deal. So let me explain it. So first thing is going to be, we're going to start here with price, the $45,000. So I always like to start at price. So I always use the toolkits and I understand what are the prices. So for $45, most Americans, most people on a fixed income can afford $45 to put a solution in place. So I'm going to start at $15,000. That's going to be my starter option. So you always want to structure your options based off the price. That's also best for them too. So you don't want to sell him a $10,000 policy if it's going to be $21. He's not going to value that option. So instead, the $15,000 is going to be our starter option. The $20,000 option is going to be the most common option, and the $30,000 option is going to be the max option. Okay, so here's how I do it. So here's in this, we're going to tie the first part and the second part together. Okay, so Mr. Johnny, what we are looking at here is going to be with a company called Mutual of Omaha. Have you heard of those guys before? He's going to say yes. Okay, gotcha. They've been in business since 1927. They're A-rated with the state, and ultimately just a well-known and established company that has not missed a payout claim in X amount of years. Just a very well-known, established company. But ultimately here, and most importantly for you, Mr. Johnny, it's going to be a company that is, going to write that check. They're going to make sure that your son gets this money in 24 to 48 hours if, God forbid, something were to happen to you. Okay, you following me here? He's going to say yes. Okay, Johnny, so I have 3 options for you. Now, we can go up, down, sideways based off of your budget and your needs. You just let me know which is going to be most comfortable and affordable for you. But most importantly, Mr. Johnny, what's going to help you sleep better at night, or what's going to help you give you that most peace of mind, okay? I'm nodding and we're moving along. He's going to say, okay. Basically, he gives me permission. Okay, Johnny, so they have 3 options. Here's how to pitch it. So the first option is a starter option. Mr. Johnny, what this starter option, what that's going to do for you, here is a $15,000 starter plan. What this is going to do for you, Mr. Johnny, that it is going to, be that, beginner option. This is how they make it affordable for everyone. It's going to be an option where you can go to bed at night knowing that, hey, it's going to cover all your funeral expenses. That when your son gets that knock on the door, that, he understands that he does not have to pay for any of those funeral arrangements. So $15,000, what that's going to do for you and your family is going to make sure that the casket's paid for, that the vault's taken care of. That $15,000 will cover all your burial expenses now, and in the next years to make sure that full arrangement, start to finish, is taken care of. And most importantly here for you, Mr. Johnny, this is going to make sure that as of man, that your son is not going to have to come out a single dollar out of his pocket to cover your full funeral expenses, because you put something like this in place to make sure that he's taken care of. Again, this $15,000 is basically affordable for everyone on a fixed income, and it's going to allow you to go to bed at night knowing that if something happens to you, your family will be taken care of, okay? That $15,000, if you can get approved, is going to be $45.56. You follow me there? Okay. Now, the second option for you here, you write that down, okay? Now, the second option for you here, Mr. Johnny, is going to be the most common option, okay? This is what I'd say 99% of people who are on a fixed income, 99% of people who are, under $1,500 a month income, I like to label them, are going to typically go with, okay? So we're going to stop it here, and I'm going to break down what you do in the close. So the starter option, you give you label it first, the starter option, and then you also say kind of like the value. This is the most important. What is it going to do? How's it going to help your family? How's it going to provide a resource? How's it going to help them, give them peace of mind? And then you hold off at the end until price. Because people on a fixed income, very, very important, are not going to hear any of the stuff that you said above. They're thinking about what is the price, what is the price, what is the price. So you would allay that price word that they have, and you would explain as powerful and as confident as possible what that solution is going to do. What is $15,000 actually going to provide for his family? What is that going to do for him? He's going to spend $45 every month, but what is that going to look like? How is that going to give him peace of mind? I think a lot of people make the mistake of, the $45. So the first option is the $15,000, and that option is $45. Do not do that. Explain the value. Explain how it's going to give him the peace of mind. Explain how this is going to help him. Explain how this is going to solve his problem, and then give the price. Now, moving back into it. The $20,000 most common, this is what most people do on a fixed income. This is what 99% of people typically go with. Label it, label it, label it. Now, what this is going to do for you, Mr. Johnny, is it's going to cover all your burial expenses now and into the future. You can have that full burial expenses taken care of now in the next few years. You can even adjust with inflation, and you could really, really, really go to bed at night knowing that now or in the future, if something happens to you, Johnny, that your son is going to be taken care of. That when he gets that hard knock on the door and that funeral director is, in his presence, he's going to have a check for $20,000 and maybe even a few extra dollars left over, knowing that his father thought of him and knowing that his father took care of him on one of the worst days of his life, okay? That $20,000 option, if you can even get approved, will be $59.68, okay? So listen to that. Take notes, write that down. Listen how in-depth that is, explaining the pain, painting the picture. Then he gets that knock on the door, and when he's standing in front of the funeral director, and ultimately you're also building emotions. Like, he's going to know that his father did this for him. He's going to know that his mom was thinking about him. Like, you want to tie the prospect's emotions into the close, because that's what allows them to make an emotional decision. Man, that's going to feel good knowing that. And once you paint that picture, once you break down what that really, really looks like, guess what? You can move people with your words because you've attacked them in a confident and comfortable way where you can help them make a decision that they've been putting off. And that's really what this is doing. They probably know that they need it, but are you going to be the person that helps them get it? Okay. Now, the last option is the max. So we got the starter option, option 1, explain the value, move forward, price. Starter 2, most common, label it. So what most people do, explain the value, give them price. Third option is the max. Whatever the max is for the carrier, let's say mutual max is $30,000. The max allows for you to create the max amount of coverage for them to buy. Some people want more coverage and they don't want the small $5,000, the $7,000 policies, but they want the 30 or the 35. I believe mutual even goes up to like 35 or 40,000. Sell them the max. Create that option. Here's why you do that. Number 1, starter option. It's like the popcorn trick at the movie theater. Starter option is probably what they don't want. It's a cheap option that might do it. And then they have the large option, which is probably a little bit out of the price range, but some might grab that option and you're going to make the most money there. Or what you're going to do is you're going to create an offer where the middle option is really what they're going to go for, because they don't want the small option. They don't really want the big option. They want what's comfortable and right in between, and what most people do. Okay, now that's what you do. So you do the starter, the most common, and then the last one is the max option. Hear me out here. So how you sell this, how the 30,000 or the max offer would be. Now, Mr. Johnny, it's a frame of discouragement. Okay, very important. You kind of want to discourage them because I'm going to explain here in a second. So, Mr. Johnny, what they have last is the $30,000 option. Now, I don't really personally recommend this to you as a friend. It's probably more than you need. But if you wanted to just make sure that all those funeral expenses are covered now and into the future, and if you wanted to make sure that you can go to bed at night knowing that your son would always be protected no matter what, and ultimately, if you wanted to, really make sure that as a man and as a father, that your son could be left over maybe $10,000, $15,000 after that funeral expenses and after one of the worst days of his life. If you wanted to do that, this is what that $30,000 option would do for you. You'd provide that full protection now and into the future. It would allow that large gift that you can leave behind, and ultimately it'd allow you to sleep really well at night, knowing that no matter what comes up with inflation and how things change in the world, that you are secure and that your son is protected and he's taken care of. But again, I don't know if I really recommend this to you. It might be more than you actually need. But that $30,000 option here, if you can get approved, would be $87.92. Okay. Now, for you here, Mr. Johnny, out of those 3 options, do you feel that the $15,000 or the $20,000 option would give you the most peace of mind? Okay. I'm going to stop you there and just train you on that. So the first thing is 30,000. Listen back of how I pitched that. I don't really recommend if, you go with this, it's probably more than you need. You actually discourage it. And this helps build trust. The reason is when you go to a car lot, these people have been sold all day, every way. People can sniff BS. And when you're actually discouraging something in the back of the prospect's mind knows that someone selling something is going to get commission. So when you're actually discouraging that, it helps build a high level of trust, because you're like, why is this person not trying to sell me the Lexus with the new tires that just came out yesterday? Why are they not trying to sell me that? Why are they trying to sell me the Corolla that's still going to help me solve my needs? And that's going to build a high level of trust. That's going to just build, confidence in your sales approach. So that's how you pitch it, and then you leave it the price. You get the starter, the most common, and then the max. Now it's in the actual close. So here how you do the close. You're selling peace of mind. You're not selling, and what options work for you? What option do you want? No, it's okay. So Mr. Johnny, as a man, do you feel that 15,000? So you always do the starter option, the 15,000, or the most common, or that most common of $59, or that most common, which is the 20. Do you feel the 15,000 or the $20,000 option? What do you feel as a man would give you the most peace of mind at night? Do you think that 15 or the 20? So you only pitch the 2 options, and he's going to say, I don't know. I could probably do both, or I could do the 15,000, or actually, I want the 30,000. So that's how you structure your offer. That's how you create, something of value, and how you explain and how you tackle that price to value discrepancy. create offers where it explains value and then give them the price, and then a whole different section to be on objection handling. But here is exactly how we pitch